One day, everything's normal. Perhaps it's a nice weekend and you decide to go camping, or that dusty old loft is finally getting cleared out, or perhaps you've just moved house into a picturesque village where everyone knows each other's name and you all share baked goods and hold hands. What joys! The next, however, everything gets turned on its head. The campsite is plagued by a woodland cult intent on sacrificing you to their leafy pagan god. The old loft has been hiding a secret passageway to an ancient room packed with dick torture tools. And that nice new village, it is actually a guise for a cannibal feeding ground. Those sausage rolls lovely Susan gave you, whoa, it's best not to question the meat. What I'm saying is that finding yourself in the midst of a horror movie happens in the blink of an eye. So, best be prepared for every eventuality just in case the worst happens, eh? Dissecting the tropes of the genre results in all sorts of lovely advice that goes a long way to saving your skin. So continue, dear watcher, if you want rules to live by. And I mean that quite literally. I am the Crypt Keeper, Ash from What Culture, and these are 10 rules to survive a horror movie. 10. Attics and basements are for losers. Dead losers. Going to the one point in a house that has no escape, are we? Well, I hope you're ready to lose the game of life, my friend, as they are a horror movie no-go. Whether it's a nasty, blood-soaked Mia stuck downstairs or a bunch of home movies you'd be better off avoiding upstairs, nothing good ever comes of going in either. And far too often, characters don't come out again at all. Of course, sometimes they are the only place to find a clue as to what is really going on with your spooky shenanigans. So if you really, truly, desperately have to go into either one, then for God's sake, don't do it alone. Best to go whole hog with this one and avoid the need to go in either at all by living in a flat though, to be quite honest. Just make sure it's a ground floor one so you've got your exit plan covered in case of axe-wielding emergencies. 9. There can only be one survivor. So make it you. If you do find yourself in the deadly horror movie, then you should familiarise yourself with the idea that only one of you is going to make it out alive. That means everyone else around you is another person who could be taking your final spot. So you better get creative if you want to be the one at the finish line. Nice guys ain't gonna cut it, after all. You know where they finish. The final girl trope has been one established for generations of horror movies at this point. So you better bet your buns that womanly charms will be your saviour. That is not to say any other gender won't cut it, but your chances are definitely improved should you embrace your feminine side. In any case, this is a rule of warning as much as it is an informed take on the genre. There can be only one at the end of the movie, so best to make sure it's you with some wicked smarts and ingenious decision making on the fly. Or just good old sabotage otherwise. 8. Listen to your nerdy horror friend. It goes without saying that Scream's Randy will give you the best horror movie survival tips of any film already out there. And listening to your wise, genre-savvy pal is a timeless rule to survival tried and tested in film history. The world is full of ridiculous horror obsessives, present company included, who will happily lecture you on the conventions of the gruesome genre, exactly like what's happening in this list. So my smartest, most sage, truly indispensable advice is to listen to these wise oracles when they speak. You're welcome. I mean, Randy teaches us the virtues of keeping it in your pants, as well as staying away from drink, drugs, and shouting stupid questions into the dark in the first film alone. Then you've got types like Leslie Vernon, who, even if he's a villain himself, teaches Taylor exactly how to survive his onslaught through tropes he's established throughout filming. He's an unconventional nerdy friend, sure, but he is still the horror weirdo that saves his newfound pals through virtue of them paying attention to all the wisdom he has to dispense. Of course, if you are the nerdy horror friend, however, then all I can say is RIP. 7. Get your cardio in. You've heard it in Zombieland and you'll hear it again here. You need a strong set of lungs and to be in good shape if you have any hope of outrunning the evils of a horror movie. It's all well and good sitting on your butt and marathoning Friday the 13th in the dark covered in Dorito dust and Dr. Pepper cans. But when a supernaturally hench bad guy sets their sights on your particular flesh bag, you're gonna regret not maxing out your endurance bar very, very quickly. There are plenty of examples too. Take a look at It Follows' demand for constant movement, or literally any zombie movie ever. They demand some limber limbs if you want to stand any hope of making it out alive. I guess this is definitely a do it in advance kind of rule for best results, but should you find yourself stuck in a horror movie whilst woefully undertrained, then the solid advice of run away as fast and as far as you can still stands strong. 6. Become a humorless buzzkill. Don't crack jokes, do not be the funny guy, and certainly do not get any ideas about being the original prankster. The comic relief never makes it to the end, and even if they do, they condemn the world around them to certain ruin a la Marty from The Cabin in the Woods. If you've got a comedy streak running through you, then your death will come all the more swiftly. Even more so if you think playing a harmless prank on your pals will result in anything other than vengeful haunting and just vengeance in general, to be honest. Being the funny character just means you're a sidekick to the protagonist, and even more likely to die as a result of not being the main focus in your own story. Horror movies might be low-hanging fruit for popping a joke here and there, but trust me, taking this deadly seriously is paramount to survival. 5. Meditate, stay calm, and don't panic. Do whatever you need to do to keep your blood pressure low, because as soon as you panic, that is when everything goes wrong. Yes, you're going to be faced with some terrifying situations, and yes, you will be scared. But that doesn't mean you've got to go balls to the wall crazy and start running around like a headless chicken. Take a moment to practice that mindfulness everyone talks about. You'll thank yourself for it later when your head is still attached to your shoulders. It's easier said than done, but panicking is the key cause of dumb decisions, so get yourself prepared to be hot under pressure. You know you shouldn't split up, but if one of you is spooked and sets off in a random direction, you're hardly going to be able to keep your group groove going smooth, are you? Breathe, don't stress, and be meticulous in your planning. Start timing your alarm with a pendulum trap in the morning. That'll both prepare you and get you up bright and early. 4. Keep your house in check. This is an entry dedicated largely to one issue. Bad drains are a bad omen, and you need to keep those bad boys clean and efficient if you don't want to die a horrible death in a horror film. If faucets start leaking blood or goo or stop working right when you get into the shower, leaving just enough time for you to look right into the shower head before whatever's stuck there gets blasted in your face, just turn the damn things off and leave. It's not worth it. Don't try and fix it by sticking your hands down a pipe, or God forbid, a waste disposal either, as that will be the last that you see of them. In broader terms though, look after where you're living and you will notice when you get ectoplasm stains and can get the hell out of there. If creaky noises are unusual rather than the excuse of just the old house settling or the pipes knocking or whatever, then you will twig instantly when there is a stranger prowling your corridors, or some jerk knocking things over whilst hiding in your loft, which you shouldn't go in anyway. And if by some nightmare these noises are all there upon moving in, well, you better move out again pretty sharpish. 3. Don't have sex ever in your life. You've all probably already heard to keep it in your briefs if you want any hope in hell of surviving a horror movie. Horny teens get slashed all the time, and even the age-old tradition of beating your meat is no surefire way of avoiding a nasty situation or a one-way trip to Death Valley, if you ask Antichrist or the Lighthouse at least. So why do I go as far as to specify not to have sex ever in your life then? Well, dear watcher, that would be because while sex is a killer in the middle of a horror movie, there is no better way to start one than with an eminently creepy child. And how do you get a child? Why, by doing the horizontal pants dance and sowing the seeds of evil that then flourish around the time they learn to say their first words. Devil spawn. Lifelong chastity is the best way of making sure you don't stumble into any horrific scenarios then. And if you suddenly find yourself burdened with a child anyway, be it by your own ill-considered decision-making or by the law of surprise, well, you better hope you have both a priest and a funeral parlour on speed dial. Did the orphan teach you nothing? 2. Loose lips save ships. The expression loose lips sink ships might have been World War II propaganda designed to keep the Allies alive, but it is not something you want to stick to should horrors come a-knocking. Keeping secrets from the group is going to have the guaranteed knock-on effect of coming back to bite you later in the film, so you better all establish an open-door policy from the first whiff of trouble. Think of how many zombie movies would keep a healthy chunk of their number alive if only one person had come forward about their suspicious bite wound sooner. Or just how much more quickly ghostly presences could be nipped in the bud if everyone already knows Sandra shagged on top of a Ouija board while singing the Venom theme. If everyone just admits their deepest, darkest secrets from the outset, then there is no reason for group turmoil to start killing people in place of any actual villains. No one cares you like whipped cream in your ass, so shout it from the rooftops if you really want to live. 1. Embrace your stink. That is right, you've got to go full Brad Stinky Pitts if you want to live to see the end of the movie, because putting yourself into any body of water is a quick and easy way of stapling dead meat to your forehead. Whether it's taking that dip into the local lagoon full of horny teenagers, or simply entering your shower you didn't know was inhabited by a handsy ghost, watery submerging has been the cause of death of far too many horror characters over the years for you to make the same mistake. This goes double for anything to do with the sea. Do not go shark cage diving, do not go on a submarine, and do not do research at the bottom of the ocean where unknown species are lurking, no matter how much science needs you. Even swimming pools are a point of contention. The Final Destination sorted that in grand fashion. Bonus points if you make yourself extra disgusting by disguising yourself in some unknown goop that hides you from heat and/or smell-sensitive baddies. Own that stench if you want to live to smell another day. And that's our list. Hopefully you don't find yourself trapped in a horror movie, but if you do, at least you now have the tools to at least survive a bit longer than your average character. What do you think of this list, and what rules would you add to my burn book of horror cliches? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. I've been Ash over on social media at Ash Millman, and this has been What Culture. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and come back again soon for some more spine-tingling horror content. Thanks for watching.